How's it going, Anian?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I saw a huge dog just walk behind you in the screen. She must weigh 150.
So, I actually have four dogs, and although normally I would lock them out of my office, I have to keep them with me. Otherwise, if they see deer or bear outside, it is literally mayhem. But yeah, that one was the Shepadoodle, a German Shepherd Poodle, and she's like 75 pounds solid.
Wow. German Shepherd Poodle? How does,
Yeah.
I don't want to think about how that happens.
You know what? Not my problem. All I know is she's cute, and that's all I care about.
That's all that matters. That's very, very funny. Okay, so you're in Colorado. Before I introduce you, I just have to know you're in Colorado.
Yeah.
And you've got, as I noticed on your Instagram, and any of our followers who know you already have probably seen that you live kind of in the woods.
We moved from basically beachside California to the literal mountains of Colorado, and it has been I did not know what to expect. My fiance kept saying, "We're going off grid." And I'm like, "Stop saying that. That scares me." I'm like an on
Yeah.
grid girl. I don't know what that means, but it's actually been the most wonderful experience. I'm just such an animal lover, and getting to see deer and like elk and bears. This is my dream come true.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're gonna get into that. Actually, I did have a question in there. So, what happens to your shepherd doodle if he's outside and a deer walks by or a bear?
Whew. Luckily, we have not had a bear encounter yet with the dogs. The deer we have experience, and they run so much faster than our dogs. And luckily, because we have two Frenchies, a Belgian Malinois, which is like a little German Shepherd, and then Bernadette, who's the Shepadoodle. But I mean, the deer hightail it, and as long as we whistle, our dogs will come back. But the
Wow.
bears have me a little nervous because they're out of hibernation now, and I've seen them a couple times.
Really? That's scary.
It really is.
Before we go into the next, I just keep coming up with questions coming off of what you say. So my daughter was just telling me the other day. My daughter is a frustrated non-pet owner. She wants to have a dog. We tried the quarantine dog. It did not work for the family.
Yeah.
And that is a different podcast episode. And that's probably 8 hours long. I haven't yet found time in my schedule to record it. Bottom line is we rehomed the dog because it didn't work for our family at all. It was a nice dog, but the dog barked absolutely every second of the day. And now my daughter is suggesting that we get a German Shepherd, but we don't live in a very large house. So I said to her, well, I challenge you to find a mini German Shepherd. And she's supposed to go out there, research it, and then come back. So what you're telling me is that there's some French-sounding name for a dog, and you said it's like a small German Shepherd.
So yeah, it's called a Belgian Malinois. They are actually used as police dogs. So I will put a big asterisk on this. They are working dogs. They are high energy. They are loyal. They will be up your butt all day, every day. They love attention. So like if you don't have time, space, energy to like work them, don't do it. Because if you
I'm
don't
out.
work them and they will
That's it.
destruction. Yep.
Episode over. We're done.
Thank you for having me here. It was wonderful.
Yes. Great to meet you. Okay. You're a licensed hairdresser in Colorado, and you're focusing on education now. You've already told us that you were in California. I assume Southern California. We'll get into that in a second. You focus on marketing and branding and helping hairdressers create passive income, which is the dream of everyone, is passive income. Making money while you sleep, as they say, right? So I know you cringe when I say that. We're going to get into that. And you're the owner of a hair extension line called
Morning hair.
Morning Hair. Okay, that is my official introduction for you. So now let's get into what I'm dying to know, which is where in California were you living? You said fiance? Is he
Yeah.
now a husband?
Close. Next year. We're planning the wedding now.
Okay. Still a fiance. He's hanging in there.
Yeah.
You can still kick him to the curb. You still have, some outs. You haven't committed yet.
Forever.
Okay, so you and your fiance, what's his name?
Steven.
Okay, you and Steven were living where? Well, you know what? No, we're going to do this. We're going to go back even farther. Where are you from originally? And then just take it from there.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Puerto Rico, which is kind of where my name comes from. It's not a family name or anything. My mom just decided she wanted me to have something different. But I actually moved to California from Missouri. I was recruited to be the director of education for a hair extension company, and I did that for 5 years. And we lived
based where?
Dana Point, California.
Oh, Dana Point is one of the most beautiful. Listeners, now we have a lot of California listeners, and they know Dana Point. We have a lot of non-California listeners who may not know Dana Point. Dana Point is probably maybe second to heaven on this planet.
It is. And if you don't know where it is, it's like 10 minutes south of Laguna Beach. I feel like Laguna Beach is super famous, but Dana Point will always have a piece of my heart.
It's got little small town nature to it. There's little places where you can get breakfast burritos. Yeah. There's, it's quaint. There's no big buildings, and, the houses aren't monstrous. The beaches are immaculate. The weather is perfection every single minute of the day.
Yeah, and the surfing, chef's kiss. Oh,
the best. The best. Especially if you have a longboard. You want to cruise out there with like the old dudes or whatever. It's just like, even the reef points are like not even that sharp. It's like they're all soft. Like if you hit them with your head because you fall, it's like soft.
It's not that bad. You're not going to drown. You're fine.
The ocean just caresses you. There's no sharks. It's the kind of place where the dolphins, as you're sitting on your board, the dolphins come and they swim around you and they sing to you.
Okay, but you know what? One time my friend and I were actually out there in Laguna, and dolphins came, I think, within like 10 feet of us, and we were just, it was the most magical day of my life. Nothing will ever beat that. I know.
That's what I'm saying. I've been there. I've done that. I'm speaking from experience. So how on earth can you move from Dana Point to not to say Colorado isn't great. Love Colorado. We have a salon in Colorado, Salon Republic in Broomfield. Oh, cool. And Flatiron Crossing, across from the mall. It's fantastic. But Dana Point. So how could you possibly move to Colorado?
I know, you're going to think I'm crazy. So it was for a couple reasons. Number one, I wanted my dogs to have free reign. And in Dana Point, to have a backyard is borderline impossible unless you are paying millions upon millions upon millions. And my fiance was here for work, and I came to visit for 36 hours. And I loved the nature. I loved the air. It was so calm. And I was basically like, I think we should break lease and move. Who cares? Like, I can work from wherever. You kind of do work wherever. And in a month and a half, we bought a house with 10 acres and we moved. It was insane.
My God. Okay. So I'm with you to a degree. I mean, I understand, obviously, Colorado's amazing for the nature and all that kind of stuff. I won't continue to wax with admiration about Dana Point. Okay.
It's okay.
So at the time you were working, back up. How did you get into hair to begin with?
Oh my goodness. I'm 34 now. I've been doing hair for 15 years. So straight out of high school, I knew I wanted to do it. Went to school, worked in a couple salons, and
In Missouri or California?
In Missouri, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like my career, I don't want to say it didn't start, but I feel like it really started when I started to get into extensions, because that was the game changer for everything. Because before that, I was still doing men's cuts and women's cuts, and I even had a perm. Like I did everything. And once I really got into extensions, that's when I was like, okay, wait, A, this is fun. B, there's a lot of money to be made here if you're smart on how you're running your business and doing your marketing. And that's when it took off. Mm-hmm.
So no longer were you doing little kids and men's and perms and great touch-ups, etc. And you being kind of an a jack of all trades, that wasn't very fun, I guess, because you probably liked only 20% of the services you're doing, and the other 80% were just like grin and bear it.
Yeah, that's like a solid number. And honestly, for me, I feel like the biggest thing I kept thinking about is like, what does my future look like if I keep doing this? Like, am I going to be stuck behind the chair 7 days a week, stressed out, like barely making enough? I didn't want that. I didn't like double booking. I didn't want to double book. I don't want to say it was my way or the highway, but I kind of wanted my business to be that way. And I feel like in 2015, 16 is when I really started to make some like heavy changes in my business, which eventually led me to California.
Okay, well, why don't we delve into that? Because I know that is a topic that many hairdressers face and kind of have this internal conversation going on. These are the hairdressers who are doing lots of different kinds of services, because when they started, they just pretty much said yes to all different kinds of clients. And they worked in a salon that had a very diverse clientele, young, old, men, women, this, that. And they just developed the kind of this mishmash of clientele. And they've been doing it now for years. They've developed an affinity, let's say an expertise in maybe certain things, but not everything. Yeah. But they still are seeing those everything clients. So how do you make that transition?
So I feel like I started slowly, because waking up one day and being like, I'm going to fire everyone who doesn't fit a very particular niche. Don't do that. That is a horrible idea. So I started with my Instagram, and at the time in 2016, Instagram was not then what it is today in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like people see me now and they're like, it's so easy. Okay, but back then it wasn't. I was in my own suite. I put up curtains on my windows to close them whenever I was trying to take pictures or do like a live on Instagram. I was so embarrassed, and I don't even know why. I was just embarrassed that I was doing this, embarrassed that I was taking photos, even though I knew in the long run that would help me. It doesn't really help you knowing that in the moment. So I feel like that's how I started, being like, you know what? I always tell myself, like, future me will thank me if I can just get over the hump of wanting to die of embarrassment, is probably a good way to put it. And I realized the more I did it, I know it's so cliche to be like, the more you do it, the easier it is, but it is. Like now being on podcasts or training in front of any amount of people, none of it bothers me, because I feel like I already did the hardest thing, which is doing all of that social media, everything, when I was so just embarrassed and honestly really bad at it too. I wasn't good.
Yeah. So in 2016, you're in Missouri. Mm-hmm. And you know, there is a geographical nature to these things. So in Missouri in 2016, it was probably still frowned upon. In LA, not so much, right? There was in 2000, that's where I live. That's where most of our salons are. We have about 1,000 beauty professionals here. And it was very common. In fact, it was kind of like, why aren't you taking a picture of your client? Yeah. You know, with the light behind you. It's like, why aren't you doing, you know? But going back before that, and I've told this story, I apologize to the listeners who've heard me tell this story a few times before, but Guy Tang in 2011, when he started filming himself in our salon in West Hollywood, he got straight up made fun of by all the other hairdressers in there. Mm-hmm. And in that salon, there's probably maybe 80 or 90 hairdressers. And I don't think one of them looked at him filming himself going down the hallway with his big personality and thought that it wasn't ridiculous. Yeah. Every single person thought it was ridiculous. I got phone calls. I got emails saying, you know, Guy is doing these weird things in the hall. He's disturbing my clients. And who does he think he is? He's filming himself. And he's putting himself on YouTube. And then another email or text might be, Guy's at it again. You know, he's putting his formulas on YouTube. You know, all these other things. And you know, it it was the very beginning. And so he didn't give a shit. And as time goes on, more and more and more people realized that it was a good thing to do. Yeah. And it's still a good thing to do. The reason I'm going into this, maybe beating a dead horse for the weekly listeners, is because you really just have to get over that embarrassment. And it may not be filming yourself anymore or taking pictures of the clients anymore, but it might be something else, that is a good thing to do, but it doesn't feel right because it's new.
Yeah. And I work with a lot of hairstylists on their social media and teaching them how to do reels and I always say sell without selling, because without personality, no one's going to buy shit from you. You're dead in the water before you start. And that's just, I hear a lot from stylists. They're going, well, I didn't sign up to be an influencer. I didn't sign up to be this. And I'm like, that's, with respect, too bad. It's the day and age where you have to get over it. I'm not saying you have to build a following of millions, but I know as a consumer, when if I'm going to go get a tattoo, I'm not going to Google, I'm going to Instagram and TikTok. That is the first place I'm looking, and all of your clients are doing the same. They're going to these massive platforms where it's pretty easy to actually find people, and if you don't exist on them or your content is bad, you either don't exist or you look like a bad stylist, which I know sucks to hear, that your level of art or your ability to do this art will be judged based on your photos, but I'm sorry, baby, it will. That's just the day and age now.
Yeah. Clients are used to making a determination, making a judgment on what they're going to end up with if they go to you by looking at your portfolio. And the portfolio is Instagram. So it's worth being active on there, right? I mean, we've said it so many times, it's still the case. Okay, so I want to get into your best tips and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like we haven't fleshed out your story yet. So you moved. Your fiance Steven works. He's on the road, or he's works virtually or at home or whatever. So it worked out for him. So you said the mountains. Tell us just how far are we into the mountains? He said off the grid, which I see images of bomb making amongst the trees. What was it? Ted Kaczynski.
Thank God
Unabomber.
Doomsday preppers. We're definitely not doomsday preppers. So My fiance and I, we actually met in 2020, at the end of 2020. And so where we live now,
Your quarantine relationship.
I mean, yeah, we kind of met at the end of it, but it worked out great. We met on Tinder, which shocks people. They're like, you're marrying someone from Tinder? I'm like, yeah, we got lucky.
Well, that's the way it works these days, right? I mean, I've been married for 15 years, so I don't know. But that's what I'm told.
You're never tried it, never gonna, but I feel you. So the best way I can put it is our driveway is half a mile up the mountain and it has 3 switchbacks. And if you have a low, so when I was in California, I had a BMW SUV and my fiance was like, babe, you have to return it. You have to get a new car, something bigger with bigger tires. And I'm like, what do you mean? Big tires? My tires are
where are we going?
Yeah. And he was like, your tires are 22-inch run flats. That's not going to work. And I was like, where are we moving? So I now have a brand new Bronco with, I think 32, 35-inch tires. He's a beast. Yeah. Because our driveway, I mean, it is no joke, but our house, mountain houses, we have well water. So I had to learn what a cistern was. Yeah. We own a well. And he was in our
cistern. Isn't that in a church?
No, I don't think so. Basically, for us, it's 1,000-gallon tank that's in our basement. The well pumps into the tank pumps into our house. And he's like, also, we don't have AC or central heat. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're moving from Dana Point. Our house is beautiful in Dana Point. What do you mean we don't have these things? Turns out it's literally no big deal because it never gets crazy hot because we're in the mountains. But, I went from 100 feet of elevation in Dana Point. Our house is almost, I think, 7,300. So when I tell you, for that first month, I don't think I could breathe. And I was
going to say.
I was out of breath.
I'm over here thinking. I can't even breathe listening to the story.
Yeah. So when I say we are in the mountains, that's a literal definition, not a figurative one.
All right. So are you foraging for your own food? Are you, like, how are you eating? How far is the local grocery store?
Luckily, it's only 15 minutes, but I'm going to be honest, Instacart still makes it up here. So Instacart brings my food.
Shut up. That's crazy.
That is the
Do they
first
charge you more?
No, but sometimes they do call me and they're like, ma'am, we can't make it up your driveway. I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you down there. It's fine. I know.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, okay. So you're not off the grid at all and your husband freaked you out, but you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, we will be getting...
husband,
it's
fiance,
fine.
Steven.
No, it's
Steven
fine.
freaked you out. You're totally
fine. Yeah, I mean, we'll eventually be getting like generators and solar panels and kind of prepping for things like that. But for now,
prepping.
I don't know.
Prepping for doomsday?
Well, here's what happened. We moved. 1 week later, we got 30 inches of snow. 2 weeks later, we had 100-mile-per-hour winds that knocked out our power. So this is like prepping for the most extreme weather I've ever seen, because to step in snow and have it hit my waist, I'm 5'1". I was like, what have we done?
So you're covered in snow. And you're not getting out. Oh, you're not getting away from the house, right? Because
hell no, you're not leaving.
Yeah, you're stuck.
Yeah, even our plow guy, he was like, I can't make it all the way up your driveway.
The plow guy?
Oh, hell yeah. We're not plowing this whole damn thing. But he couldn't make it. So
he couldn't make it all the way up. What does a plow guy charge you to plow your half-mile driveway?
That's a great question for my fiance.
I was like,
yeah, I'm out on that. You handle it.
Oh my gosh. You know, there's like glimpses of appeal, and then you say that and I'm out.
I know, but you know what? I'm one of those people. I love being in my house. I love not leaving. So having been stuck here for like a week because of the snow, honestly, for me, I'm like, this is great. I don't want to leave anyway.
I'll be in Dana Point.
Yeah.
I'll be riding the soft waves on my longboard with the dolphins dancing around me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. We have property in Costa Rica, so I feel like if we really like itch to get out, we can always hop down there and get like a lot of sun, so it'll be fine.
All right. Very cool. All right, so you moved to Colorado. You are on the grid, but high. Maybe you're above the grid.
Might be.
And are you behind the chair? Are you at a salon at all, or are you just educating these days?
So I actually decided to not rebuild my clientele. I still rent inside of a salon. It's like a one-chair kind of big salon, but I really just do models specifically for content, especially for my hairline. But I just decided I'm not rebuilding, which was kind of scary too.
Well, your business changed. Your business changed from behind the chair to an extension business and your education, right? Yeah. All right, so let's get into the education. You focus on marketing and branding, from what I can tell. Let's talk about specifics. What are your favorite things to talk about these days with the marketing and the branding and the business and the Instagram, amongst all that stuff? What do you love talking about these days?
Oh, yeah. One, I am very, very passionate about you will sell more if you stop trying to sell. The more that you tell people, click the link in bio, DM me for an appointment, I swear to God, the less you're going to get clients just because of the algorithm. That is something I'm very passionate about. And then actually understanding how to create a reel and what the algorithm is looking for. Because I think that's what has hairstylists so like having a panic attack all the time, because they're like, a reel, I have to write a hook. I'm like, I promise you, whatever you have in your head feels so much worse than the reality of what you need to do.
Well, that's life in general for, any normal human who has normal anxiety. We always build things out to be more than they really are. But in the case of Instagram, your first point about selling, and I suspected this was true, but you're telling me now on a formal basis that Instagram definitely demotes content that seems like, or that is a sales pitch?
So I don't think it's that Instagram demotes it, but here's the way I explain it to everyone. What Instagram cares about is keeping people on the app, like period,
Yeah,
flat
period.
out. And that makes sense. That's a business. So
Right.
they are going to, the algorithm will promote content that is keeping people on the app. So if you're always making content that says, click the link in my bio, DM me for an appointment, you're not getting engagement on any reel that you're posting, or probably any of your content. So I tell people, if you want your content to be seen by new people, you need help from the algorithm. If you want help from the algorithm, you have to give it what it wants, which is content that keeps people on the app, which is why comments, shares, and saves will forever be the most important thing that I don't want to say you're like gunning for, but it's true. And so if you're writing this very like 5 reasons why you should sit in my chair, DM me for an appointment, well, someone's probably not going to read that because people do not like being sold these days. They buy based off the result and personality. Like that's what people are looking for. So not only are they not watching, so your watch time is down, they're not reading the caption, so your replays are down, which means they're never getting to your call to action, which is saying, click the link in my bio. So that's why I tell artists, I'm like, because I feel like even before Instagram or like social media, it was like, I don't want to sell to my clients in the salon the shampoo. And I'm like, this is your job. Like you have to do that. So that's why I tell stylists, if the thing that's keeping you from posting is like, I don't know how to be salesy and I don't want to be, I'm like, that's actually good, because you don't need to be. What you need to do is show beautiful hair, show your personality, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Well, easier said than done. I mean, what if one's personality isn't very good?
I mean, look, I'm aware.
Well,
I feel like I have. Go ahead.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the in front of the camera personality, right? And
Yes.
the listeners know what I mean. And I'm not talking about like somebody's an asshole, just natural, just somebody who, when they turn the camera on themselves, they clam up, they get nervous, and they just don't give very much of their true selves to the audience.
Well, and that's why I tell people, if you're not used to looking at a camera and speaking, it's a learned skill, just like any color correction or foiling, right? So I tell them, like, don't start with that. Like, honestly, leave that for last. Start with just put your phone on a tripod, set it up in the salon, and hit record. Use 6 seconds of that clip of you foiling and share a fun story. There's a girl that I worked with on her social media for a while, and she put a post up, which was really cute. It was like, the shampoo is the best part of an appointment. And I was like, yes, you are 100% right. But that's so boring. Like, I don't care to know anything else that happened because boo, it's just boring. And so we were talking, I'm like, do you have any like stories you can tell? Things that have happened in the shampoo room or clients? And she's like, I mean, I did fire a client once for moaning in the shampoo bowl too much. And I was like, stop, back up, tell me more. Because that's interesting.
That's so good. I want to stop the conversation and go there.
Yeah, like that. I mean, but honestly, and so I told her, I'm like, instead of trying to sell someone about you do such a good shampoo, I'm like, all you need is a 6-second clip of you shampooing someone. You don't even need to look at the camera. The hook is exactly what you said. I fired a client for moaning too much in the shampoo bowl. I'm like, and then your caption, you just tell the story. That reel, at the time, she only had like 3,500 followers. She didn't have a massive account. That reel, as of today, has 23 million views. That's why I'm like, people don't want to be sold. They want to connect. They want personality. They just want like kind of fun and to be entertained. And so that I feel is
entertainment.
That was a big wake up moment. And it also resonates. People were like, I'm allowed to do that because I have a client like that who's a freak. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that if you want.
Yeah. You're like, please do that.
Please.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. Phenomenal advice. So, Instagram, I mean, we've now been with Instagram for, I don't know, what, 14 years, 13 years, something like that. Is it still a great source of clients?
Absolutely. So I feel like I am very open about like the income I make, which I know can sometimes be very like, ew, because talking about money can be a very gross topic. But the reason I like to do it just in an honest way is because a lot of, I feel like especially educators that I work with, when they're trying to build either education for like an extension method or a business training or just like events that they do, they don't realize how important it is. And last year, 2023, was the first year that I was like a solo entrepreneur. I worked for myself the entire year, and I kind of wanted to just see like, well, what can I do? So I spent zero money on ads. Like I paid nothing to build up my following to what it is, nothing to like educate people. And I still made like $400,000 last year. And all of that, yeah, hell yeah. My first year by myself, I was so proud. And I tell people, I'm like, that came just from social media. I didn't do Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I'm not doing word of mouth on the street, handing out cards. Like there's so much of a possibility available, but you just have to realize like, yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable and you're probably going to suck for a second, but it won't always be that way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You just got to keep trying, right? You just got to keep trying. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So before we go to your extension business, I want to make sure that we cover all the different social media nooks and crannies, not all of them, but like any of the ones that are particularly interesting to me in the moment.
Yeah.
TikTok. What's the deal with TikTok? TikTok's still a thing?
I love TikTok so much. My following on TikTok hit like 102,000 this week, which made me laugh so hard. And here's what I tell people. Some of the content that you do on Instagram can easily transfer over to TikTok. The ones where you're doing a voiceover or you're just talking to the camera, those are great. The normal reels with like a hook, don't like repost them on TikTok because they don't do well. But I feel like TikTok to me is the place where you almost get to like let your guard down a little bit. No one cares about perfection. No one cares if your makeup is done. You can put a hoodie on, pull the hood up, zip it tight, and talk about whatever you're passionate about. And that lands with people. So TikTok to this day, I feel like that is my place. I don't want to say to be like free because that's so dramatic, but it's a place where I'm like, I don't have to worry about branding. I'm just going to go hard, talk however I want about whatever I want. And I found that my following on TikTok is now actually transferring over to Instagram because people will find me and be like, aren't you the girl who did blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, that actually is me. Welcome.
Super interesting. Give us an example. So what's one of your better TikTok posts?
So anyone who's on TikTok, I'm on Book Talk. So I talk a lot about books and things that I read and what I do in my business. And honestly, like I've had TikToks hit multiple millions, and some of them have been literally just me and my fiance joking around. Like it's been nothing that's overly curated. It's me being like, you want to come flirt with me like this guy did in that book? And he's like, no, you guys are all insane. Like things like that, because that's all TikTok wants. Like, yes, Instagram wants authenticity. TikTok wants it more. They want like almost like the behind the scenes, we're just chilling, we're hanging out. They don't like curated. And that's why those TikToks have done so well, because it was me and my fiance chilling at home, really just probably talking shit to each other. Like it's shenanigans.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So are the followers on TikTok, are these hair related people? I mean, are these what and I'm kind of going towards the point of, should a hairdresser with limited time who's like barely keeping their head above water with Instagram, should they take what little time resource they have left and put it into TikTok?
No. I always say, look, if you don't have one platform down, don't jump, hop, and skip to another one. because putting out mass content, that's quantity, but the quality of it, like with respect, is garbage. That's not going to help you. So I tell like anyone that I work with, if you already feel like you don't have time for Instagram, don't worry about TikTok. Use it to doom scroll. I don't care. It's fine. Focus on making beautiful content for Instagram. And then once you feel you have that flow and you're confident and you're moving so much faster, because for me, I can make a really great reel in like 5 minutes. Some people, they're like, it took me an hour and a half. And yeah, that happens sometimes. So I always say, focus on quality, not quantity.
Okay. All right. So going back to, we're retreating from TikTok. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going back to Instagram. And what would you say are kind of what would you just straight up advise people to stop doing within the hair industry with their Instagram accounts? Like you keep seeing it and it's super cringe, as my 13-year-old daughter would say. And you just want to speak to the community as a whole right now. Please, people, stop doing what?
First, I just have to say, if you think you hate reels, you're overthinking it all. So stop making them super long. Make them literally 6 seconds. You don't even have to talk to the camera. You don't have to use fancy transitions. You don't have to have fancy lettering and fancy words. And also, like, sometimes I need you guys to shrink these words down, because when you have words that are this big per word and they cover the screen, it ages you. And I know that sucks to hear, but words that are like slanted and weird and fancy, it doesn't look fancy. It makes your content look old. So I tell people, do less. Like, I literally need you to do less. Pick a 6-second clip. You don't even have to put words over it if it's that interesting. Write out a nice caption that gives value. Ask people to comment their opinion. Wash your hands and be done. It can literally be that simple. I don't do fancy anything because honestly, I don't want to. I don't have time. I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you don't have to. So why would you?
Literally, why am I going to make my life harder for myself? I already have enough like content I have to make. I'm not going to overdo it when I know the overdoing it doesn't help me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with me personally, I try to not go on Instagram, because when I go on Instagram, it immediately wipes out an hour of my time, like immediately. And I didn't have an hour to spend. And I am throwing out lump sums, right? Yeah. It's like I have a so-and-so in 15 minutes. Like I know it's on my calendar. I have to do it. I go on Instagram and then it just is a fire hose of content trying to get my attention. And as I've said many times in the past, there's never been a better product in the history of mankind at getting and keeping / wasting our attention.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to have my shield on when I go to Instagram, and I go to coach.anian to see what you're doing. But I can't just go to coach.anian. I'm slapped in the face with like 15 other things, right? It's like DMs and the things, the blah and the memes and like a war broke out over here and this happened over there, right? And I literally have to have my shield on. And even though I'm attracted to each one of these things, I want to click on it, I want to go deeper, I have to ignore and then go to coach.anian, which is your Instagram, in order to actually accomplish what I need to accomplish in the next 15 minutes.
Yep.
So there's that. It's become a little more like TikTok, where your feed no longer is just the people you follow. It's the memes that have millions of likes in the last 20 minutes, right? Because it's that fucking funny. Like it just is. It's just these meme creators. Who are these people? They're so funny, amazing, timely. Like, and to your point, a lot of these memes are created very simply in a split second. It's not fancy, and that's what makes it better, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
So I had no point in what I was just saying. I was just ranting.
That's fine. And here's the deal. I feel you. When I'm pulling up the app, I feel like I'm going into it very intentionally. Am I creating or am I consuming? Because if I'm creating, that means I have I have a plan, I am in, and I am out.
Focus.
Yes, but if I'm consuming, then I also know, okay, that's my time to engage. I'm commenting back, I'm responding to my DMs, I'm responding to my comments, I'm meeting new people, and I think people forget, guys, social media, literally half of the name is called social. You should talk to people. Like, that's the fun part, is meeting people all over the world, which has opened up so many opportunities for me, like professionally and even socially. But I know if I'm on a time limit, which now I feel like I have my schedule pretty set, sometimes it's in and it's out, and I'll be back in a few hours to like engage. But ooh, if you get caught in that rabbit hole, yeah, you're fucked. It's a problem.
Like, they show me a great video of, Gabriel Medina surfing and wherever, and it's like, it knows I like to watch surfing, and stuff. And like, to not click on it and to see the slider, the next video, is so difficult. But yeah, you absolutely have to prepare yourself, stay focused, and get done what you need to get done.
Yeah.
If you need to do that. Otherwise, you can be entertained. You can go down the rabbit hole of memes and the people that you're following and whatever else. So yes. I very much have a love-hate relationship with Instagram these days. And most days I simply try to avoid it because I just don't have the time. I won't be able to do the more important things in my life that I have to do. Yeah.
I get that. I feel like you're almost like that kid who never got candy, and then all of a sudden they let him go trick-or-treating, and you're like, candy!
That's right. Like Beavis and Butthead. They're all like, yeah, like sugar high. Yeah, 100%.
That's you on Instagram.
It's 100%. I mean, because I haven't had much time to keep up with, the broader news these days. I listen to a news app on my phone to and from work or the salon or my office or wherever. And, that's kind of my one source. But if I need to delve in, I just have to avoid Instagram. Okay, enough of that. Anything else that you want to say about Instagram or TikTok or any other, key tidbits of advice that before we move on?
All I want to say to stylists is, I know you're busy behind the chair. Like, I get it. Just remember, Instagram doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It doesn't have to be that you're either posting every single day or twice a day or you're ghosting it completely. You are allowed privacy. You are allowed to find a timing that works for you. Like, you are allowed to do these things. So just find what works for you. And there's no wrong. The only wrong way to do social media is to literally just not do it at all. Other than that, do whatever you want. It's fine.
That's a beautiful point, especially in response to my rant earlier. I think it's absolutely, you're absolutely right. Just you can do it on your own time as frequently as you can, without pressure.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want to talk about your hair extension line. This is, how much time are you spending between your education efforts and your hair extension line efforts?
We're days? Probably 50-50.
Okay. Yeah, so your hair extension line, when did you start it?
I started it last year was the testing period, and it launched February this year, I believe, March.
Oh, so it's very new.
It is new, yeah.
Now, when you say on your Instagram profile that you like to help hairdressers create passive income, are you talking about this kind of a thing? You talking about the extensions?
Not this extensions, not hairlines. That's wild. I help educators create courses. So sometimes it's things like hair extension courses or assistant training courses or salon business courses, toppers, like creating that. Although I'm an artist, I'm a very technical, techie person. So yay, that worked out for me. So that's what I help them do. And sometimes it is passive. Sometimes it's actually just helping them figure out how in the hell to do pre-training, an online course, and do classes, and like packaging all of that together.
Got it. So that's kind of interesting. So let's spend a minute there. So you are a you help educators create kind of an educational platform, foundation, that they can then put out there to their followers.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very cool. And so you use your you understand how to do the technology, you understand how to market it, and all that jazz. And there's a fee that they pay for this. How does that work?
Yeah, so it honestly just depends on, I always say, like, the scope of the project, how big is it, and how much do they not want to be involved, which sounds crazy, but...
How much do you want me to do, in other words?
Literally, how much weight do you want me to hold, and how much are you willing to help me? Because it comes down, like, it's really, I feel like I'm doing the part that all stylists hate. It's all of the technology, building landing pages, actually putting the course together, creating notes, creating assets, like manuals, and like all these things that a stylist opens up their computer or they press the on button and then they're like, I hate this, I'm just gonna turn it off. We're not doing that. I thrive in that. I came from a very like techie household, and because I've been doing hair for 15 years, I have built a lot of courses that range from, I mean, up to $15,000, like a person. So like it ranges at this point. And that's something I love helping educators do. Cause to me, it would be devastating if I knew I was really good at something and I knew I could help other stylists teach them. But the only thing keeping me from doing it was just not understanding the technology. Like that would suck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody who does that, but it seems like there would absolutely be a need for such a thing. So super cool that you're doing that. All right. So now let's go to your extension line. You started it in February of this year, 2024. So it's brand new for you. So how's it going?
It is going so good. And I
Are
will
people
say,
buying stuff?
yeah, I actually did like a soft launch earlier this year and it completely sold out. And that was like, I will say creating a hairline is the scariest thing I've ever done, because in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be so cute. I'm going to have a hairline. I get to brand it. Okay. Yeah. Well, what they don't tell you is you have to order minimums. And if you think the minimums are like 10,000 every 3 months, no. It's 6 figures, multiple every 6 weeks. No. So it is. No. When I first found out that's how much I had to pay, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend like I didn't. I sat there and I was like, I don't think I can do this. This is crazy. And I decided to do it because, look, as someone who's done hair extensions for over a decade now, hair that's quality is hard to come by. Finding a brand that you can trust is hard to come by. Finding a brand that also isn't like price gouging you to where you're like, I don't even know how to price my services because the hair costs so much money. So I'm one of those people, I'm like, look, if I want something, like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it myself. So I talked to a friend who talked to someone. It's to find a factory is impossible, but I have a factory in China. I have someone that goes there and checks it out and kind of does like some of the go-between, because yes, they speak English, but not as obviously well as here in America. I have 3 points of like quality control checking. Like I had to create all the colors. I wanted to pull my hair out and give up about 100 times, but I'm like, no. The outcome is going to be worth it and it'll be fine.
You would have been fine if you pulled your hair out, by the way, because
I have hair coming. It's fine.
Because inventory. Because the minimums are so big, you would have had excess inventory to supplement your pulled out hair.
It was crazy. Yeah. And so when I was really doing it, basically, like, I just wanted to do it my way, in a way that, like, I found, like, with integrity and doing that. And when I was figuring out, like, branding and naming, so it's called mourning hair, but, like, mourning the death of someone, not, like, good morning.
MOURN.
Yeah. And it's actually based off of this thing called Victorian death hair, that way back when, hundreds of years ago, when someone would pass, they would actually take some of their hair and make it into art, whether it was pictures to put in a frame or bracelets or necklaces, and they called it mourning hair. And I'm not, even though I lived in California, I don't think I'm not like a free people, beachy, cutesy girl. I'm more like Wednesday Addams. Like, I literally have her tattooed on me. I like the goth, the dark, the macabre. And I was like, you know what? everything in the hair world is so cute and pink and beachy. I'm going opposite. I'm going to do everything everyone isn't. Like, our first photo shoot was in a cemetery, which was a crazy experience.
Wow.
But it was cool. So,
wow. Cool.
Yeah, that's morning hair.
Well, you can definitely pull off this whole macabre thing because your personality is so bright.
Thank you. That's so
nice. I mean, you ooze the whole California beachy personality, happy, bouncy thing, you know? And so all that's great. And so the macabre maybe just offsets you a little bit. So you're, you know,
yeah,
like you have multiple facets now.
Yeah, and that macabre and dark vibe, it just fit, and I loved it. And even like I had PR boxes made that are actual, like, they're in the shape of coffins, and like they're silk lined and everything, and they were branded. Yeah. And that's how I really started shipping out the hair to begin with. And I sat there and I was like, okay, people are either going to love this and know me and know that it fits, it's a vibe, the hair is going to be great, or they're going to think I'm like a Satanist, and they're going to block me and never want to work with me again. So luckily it was the former for the most part, probably.
Yes. Good. Well, you know, it's like you got to stand for something or you stand for nothing. And the whole standing for something, you're going to appeal to, you know, the niche of people who like that kind of a thing. And that's probably going to be plenty to have a decent business, right?
Yeah, I know for me, whether it comes to like my business or social media, whatever it is, if I don't love it, if I always tell people, like, if I don't love my own content, I'm not posting it. If I don't want to sit there and keep replaying it and giggling at how honestly just funny I think I am, then I don't want to do it. And so I'm not saying I'm funny. I just say I'm funny. So
well, most people can't stand themselves on video. So how do you reconcile that? Like, you're lucky in that you know you're funny and you appreciate your own personality, which is great. A lot of people, they might shoot a decent video. Like, I would look at it and be like, yeah, that's good, Janice. And Janice would be like, no, I hate it. Look at my hair's imperfect. And, you know,
I mean, that's how I started. I didn't like most of the content I created, but honestly, it was at that point in my career where I was like, I can either put myself out there and build, or I can keep being poor and working in the salon and working a second job. Like, it was like I couldn't fill my gas tank up all the way. Like, I was a broke bitch, which is fine. It's not that way now, but for me, it was literally like, I don't want my life to keep going that way. So now we're sink or swim, and I am not a sink kind of girl. Like, I will do whatever it takes to succeed.
So you basically followed yourself.
Yeah.
You created content. At first, you didn't like it. And then you were like, yeah, I do kind of like my own content. You kind of like followed yourself.
I just kept changing it. And because everyone tells me, they're like, I hate my voice. I'm like, well, with respect, that's how you sound to the rest of us. So we love you and we know exactly what you sound like. So you might as well just post.
Might as well just change your voice.
Screw it. You'll be fine. So yeah, it wasn't always.
Yeah, you do sound that bad.
Look, one time someone told me I sounded like the gingerbread man from Shrek, which the more excited I get, the higher pitched my voice goes. And at first I was like, you son of a bitch, how dare you put that in my head? And then I realized they were actually correct, and I accepted it. It's fine, whatever.
That's very, very funny. Okay, so with your education business, how do you structure it? You have clients, they subscribe to things, they consume your content, or are you coaching them one-on-one? How does it work?
So a little bit of both. I actually, a couple weeks ago now, beginning of July, released a membership that's called the Content Coven. Of course, it was going to be dark.
Again, with the death.
Again, with
and the Grim Reaper. Because that's so you. Your personality is so grim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's called the Content Coven, and it currently has, I think, 16 videos inside of it, but it's where I just keep adding more videos basically every week, and it walks people through, yes, how to figure out your target market, understanding reels and carousels and all the marketing things, but I also wanted it to work for coaches. So it goes over like how to create free offers, how to set up an email list, how to like do things that artists aren't ever taught for any reason. So that I feel, and I wanted to make it very affordable. It's $27 a month. Like I wanted anyone who is at any point in their career to be able to afford it. So we can do that, but I do work one-on-one with people where it's actually like giving them feedback every single day on their content, working with them on their content pillars, and like down to like if someone is like, girl, I don't have time for any of it. I'm like, I will write your content, but I won't post it though. Like we got to be a little self-sufficient. I'll do the hard part, which is writing everything out. So there's multiple ways, I feel like, depending on how you learn or honestly like where the budget is, because these days it's rough sometimes.
Right. Totally. All right. Do you have any hair horror stories? I mean, you must, with the whole coven, cemetery theme. There must be something horror related that's happened to you in a salon.
I will think of probably one of the most recent, which was actually like a year ago. So I'm pretty lucky that my clients are rad. But I got a new client. She'll never hear this, so I'll say her name. Her name's Jody, and she was a really nice lady. So she came to me. She had been wearing individuals, and I do like weft extensions. And so she was wearing 26s, which already I'm like, whoo, okay.
It's long.
It's long. Her bangs were fried off to like an inch, parts of it. And I'm already like, wow. Okay, your hair, with respect, is fucked. Like there's no other way to look at it. So I was like, I'm like, we have to take out all of these. Like I made sure she signed all the contracts because like this is not my doing. She's in my salon. I took out 2 of the keratin bonds and her hair was broken off to an inch. So anyone who does hair, you're sweating immediately. And I'm like, I can't take this out. Like, I'm not taking the heat for this. So I literally stepped back and I was like, hey girl, like we have to have a talk. And I was so honest with her. I'm like, the damage is a little worse than I anticipated. And I am not willing to take the brunt of this. You have to go back to that salon, have them take it out. I don't work Saturdays, but I'm like, I'll come in on a Saturday for you. I thought she would leave, call the salon, and then come back. She sat back down in my chair and called them while I'm standing there. And when I tell her, bro, she's like, hi, this is blah, 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 blah. I met a new hairstylist, and she told me that you guys fucked my hair up. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, I don't
give my name.
This. I'm literally just backed up, texting my friend going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she's like, well, she said that it's horrible. You guys need to take it out. I can't believe you've done this to me. And I'm like, I have never been more scared in my life. And then I'm also like, are you going to treat me like that? Because wait, like I don't hold up now. So she did go to that salon the next morning at 8 a.m., then came straight to mine. It was bad. And it was not like an argument, but she's like, I want 26s. I'm like, you can have 22s. And she's like, that's short. I'm like, well, so's your hair. Your hair's fucked, baby. Like, I'm not doing that. She stayed with me for about a year until she decided her hair was growing. It was so healthy and pretty now, but was angry about the 22s. So she tried to take out her own extensions, which doesn't work. And then she called me and she's like, you did a bad install. They're falling out. And I'm like, I can see the crushed beads. I know what you did. So thank God I didn't do his hair anymore. I know what you did. But
I see you. I have a contract, woman.
My contracts are solid and I make sure of it because I am not messing with that. But that to this day is one of the hardest moments I've had. And then putting in 3 rows of extensions while making sure I really couldn't use bleach because damage. I mean, that was rough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't it funny how sometimes people wear their personalities on their heads?
Yeah. And you know what? And I always say, like, what to anyone who's starting extensions, because I was always so afraid of the mean clients when I was in Missouri. So now this was probably about 10 years ago now. I had a client and I was talking about like, oh my God, I'm taking this class to help my business. You know, I'm so excited. And she knew the method I did. And she looked at me and she was like, you're not going to raise your prices like them, are you? Because that's ridiculous. And I was like, what she didn't know was I had an email going out the next week saying, yes, I was raising my prices. And when she got that email, she texted me and she's like, I would like to cancel all my appointments. And I said, no problem. I totally get it. If you need anything, I'm here. She was like, yeah, I'll be back when my money tree grows. And I'm like, great. Thank you.
I'll be wishing for your money tree.
Like, damn, lady, you couldn't, like, I don't think there's anything embarrassing in saying, like, hey, that's out of my budget. Cool. Great. Thank you. Okay. Awesome.
Well, yeah, most people are, embarrassed, and money is such a source of shame and stuff for so many people. But unfortunately, she was kind of using it to shame you or, anybody else who might need to raise their prices, notice I said need to raise their prices.
And
which you shouldn't do, but that's the way humans are sometimes. They internalize their own angst and anger and anxiety, and they spew it all over the place, like a dragon breathing fire.
Yep. And at this point, I'm like, I'm unshameable. So I feel like once you're on social media enough, you kind of grow like a thick skin. So I'm like, if you want to yell at me, that's totally fine. I don't care. Honestly, it's engagement. So thank you. You should argue in my comments. That's funny.
Right. Yeah, give me something I haven't seen before, lady.
I literally made a post one time talking about how, I found out that some very popular salons in LA will like provide cocaine to their employees in the back so that they like work faster. And I was like, that to me is crazy. And I was like, that's insane. And some people were like,
I think that's been happening since the 70s.
For sure. That just for me, I'm like, damn, y'all just get some sleep, eat a good breakfast, and I swear you'll have energy. But the amount of people that literally yelled at me for being like, so what? So what if we want to do cocaine? I'm like, I'm concerned for you, first off. Second of all, I don't know why you're defending this. I'm just saying as a client, I don't want you coked up doing my hair. But if you want to do that on your free time, like, it's cool. But people get offended about the stupidest things.
That's awesome. They're defending their drug abuse. I love it.
Literally. Yeah, that was a wild day.
Publicly.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. Do you have any last words for the community?
Just thank you for having me here. I think it's amazing to be able to talk to other stylists and entrepreneurs, and I think if people are willing to put themselves out there, even just to DM someone and say, hey, like, I like your art, you'd be surprised how friendly everyone is. I know the hair world can be a little scary. Most people are so kind and welcoming. So like, don't be afraid of like the couple crazies. Just make friends. You'll be fine. You'll love it.
Absolutely. Even the big accounts, the people that you kind of maybe idolize is too much of a word, but some of your favorite hair loves, I say this all the time, DM them, hit them up, be a human with them because they're totally normal people. Our industry, it's not like we're Hollywood. You're not DMing Brad Pitt, okay? And, many of them they love the engagement. They love to have, a back and forth, get to know people. So I always encourage that, especially at a hair show. How often am I standing there and I'm talking to somebody with a monster account or whatever, and like nobody's coming up to them, and they will love somebody to come up to them.
I feel like most educators these days, and like, the people we idolize in the industry, like they're doing everything they do because of the community. I feel like Blonde Chronicles, Carly is like the most perfect example. She responds to everything and everyone and is the sweetest, most delightful human ever. So to tell her like, hey, I love the video, or, oh my God, you inspired me, or, hey girl, you're just so cool. That would literally make her entire day. That makes any educator's day. Like we're all just normal people. It's fine.
100%. Yeah. She was in our Del Mar salon for years and had the best studio with an ocean view. And she exploded on Instagram, and now she's just such a great educator, and great for her. And you're absolutely 100% correct. She's just the best personality, and loves to talk to anybody in this industry. So All right. Well, it was so much fun meeting you. You're Coach Aniane, Anianne.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me today. This was a blast.
If you ever like get snowed out of your house or something and need to come back to Southern California, let me know.
Done. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.